We got Jimmy Graver here. Just tell people about yourself.
Hey, I'm Jimmy. 45-year-old, long life. Fuck that.
How old are you?
45. I'll be 45 on Thursday,
Shit. Happy birthday.
March 5th. Thanks, man.
Happy birthday.
Lifelong resident of Philadelphia. Grew up in North Philly. Left for 4 short years, serving in the military. Joined the Navy when I was 19. I wanted to stay in the Navy.
Okay.
As a career. And they just didn't have anything for me. So I took a Greyhound bus home one weekend to visit family. When I got off the Greyhound bus to transfer over to take the L up to my house, the Philadelphia police was handing out applications.
That whole ride was rough, bro. Greyhound to the L.
Yeah.
Shit.
So, but I mean, I didn't know anything better.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was
Sure.
Still a young kid. I was like 21, 22. So I filled out an application and just, I mean, never in a million years would I imagine growing up to be a police officer. Never. It was the first thing through my mind. But I joined the police department, came home, did some odd jobs until the academy started.
Yeah.
And I started in June of 1999. Yeah, man, it just some of the scariest things that have ever happened in my life, man, have been at work. Like, who else can say that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the scariest moment in your life, been when you're tattooing somebody.
But I mean, I think that's the difference between like that. That's what makes cops and firemen and the military. That's what makes it different. It's like if I came to work and some wild shit happened consistently, I'd work somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that shop is ridiculous. There's bullshit happening. I'm out. But I mean, that's why you got that job. It's like, fuck it up. I'll deal with that shit.
And I don't know if your viewers know this or not, but he is not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. He's just trolling me like a motherfucker.
Hey, there's some donuts.
I'm just saying.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Like 2000. So I joined in 1999. Went to work in South Philly, 11th and Reed, the 4th district that doesn't even exist anymore. They combined it with another district. We had everything south of Tasker, and then from Delaware River to Broad Street. So we covered the stadiums, covered the Navy Yard, all South Philly. It was a different world to me. Spent a few years there. Went up to the Northeast, patrolled there for a few years.
What would you say is like the scariest situation you've ever been in?
So I've been involved in 2 shootings myself. One was February 16th, 2004, where we get a call that it was at 2:30 in the morning, a call from Town Watch saying that a guy pulled a gun on them and they're following the guy. And so I drove my patrol car into the area. A guy fit the exact description down to the shoelaces. He's coming off the porch, looking in the opposite direction of me. So he's coming off the porch. I'm coming down this way, and he looks south. And I'm coming from the north end of the street. So he doesn't see me pulling up. I got my lights off. And he hears my door open. I say, just a regular encounter. Say, hey, buddy, can I talk to you for a minute?
Right.
And he stops and freezes, and he turns, and he hauls ass back into the house. So I give chase. He tries to close the door on me. I break through the door and chase him up the steps. And the whole time, he's got a revolver in his back pocket, and he's trying to pull it out. But the hammer to the gun is caught in the corner of his jeans. And he can't get it out. So he's about, I'd say he had about 3 or 4 steps on me. Almost to where like I could reach up the steps and touch the heel of his sneaker.
Yeah.
That's how close I was to him. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, police, police, police. So he gets to the top and he makes a left turn into a bedroom. And as I get to the top, I hesitate and I look around and he's standing there. He's got the gun out.
Shit.
So I fired once and then took cover and I heard him hit the floor. He was hit one time. He fell onto his gun. Never got a chance to get a shot off.
Shit.
Yeah, that guy did only 3 years in jail.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was the
He was
charge?
on parole for carrying an illegal gun. He was on parole and he was caught carrying a gun again, and he was only given three years for attempted assault on an officer and illegally carrying a gun.
So you only get 3 years for that?
He did. Yeah.
Whoa, that's.
I believe anywhere else with a little bit stricter guidelines.
Yeah.
He may have, maybe on the county, Montgomery County, Bucks County, he would have did a lot more time.
I mean, has anybody you've known been shot on the?
So January 7th of 2016, I was working the overnight shift. We start at 11 o'clock p.m., go to 7 a.m., and right out of the gate, we had an assistant and an officer on a job, and we're driving up. I work in West Philly. Driving up 60th Street, we pass a friend of ours that was working a shift of 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. That shift kind of covers when the two main shifts switch.
Okay.
It's kind of overlapping. Yeah. So we pass him, we shoot him a wave, me and my partner, and he was working by himself that night. And we go assist a friend of ours, and then we go get our coffee to, start our tour, start our day.
Yeah.
And we just hear screaming over the radio. I have the audio and the video. Everything was caught on surveillance video. A guy by the name of Archer was his last name, dressed in full Muslim garb, had his face covered with a rag, just lying in wait for the next police officer to drive by.
Shit.
And my good friend Jesse Hartnett was traveling north on 60th Street at Spruce, and as he's crossing the intersection, he sees the guy like walking towards him with a gun and didn't realize what was about to happen. And Edward Archer fired into the police car 13 times, critically wounding Jesse.
What did he have?
So, meaning
weapon.
The caliber I believe was a 40 caliber handgun.
Handgun.
Yeah, shot him 13 times, hit him 3 times.
Shit.
The video that your viewers will see actually shows after him firing from about 6-7 foot distance, runs up to the car and actually puts the gun in the driver's side window.
Shit.
And continues to fire.
Fuck.
Hit Officer Hartnett.
Just, I guess, down.
He shielded his face with his left arm, and that's what took the 3 bullets. Just shot him straight up his arm and just obliterated his elbow. As he was out of ammo, he ran. Officer Hartnett had the wherewithal to put the car in park, get out of the car. His left arm was useless.
Yeah.
And drew his weapon as he chased after him and fired his weapon until he saw that he hit him and he dropped and then realized he's bleeding out.
Yeah.
So he
must have hit a bone.
Runs back to the car and he's looking for his tourniquet because he knows he's going to be dead if he doesn't do something. comes over the air, and that's what we heard the transmission. He says he's been shot at 60th and Spruce. He's bleeding profusely. He needs help. And there's officers that were a block away, heard the shots, and started to drive towards them, which is a thing cops do. You know, you hear gunfire, most people go the other way. He runs toward it. Wow. They run towards it, and so one set of officers placed the guy in custody. The other set of officers grabbed Jesse, threw him in the car, and took him to the hospital.
Yeah,
One of the scariest nights of my life. We actually met so Edward Archer was Officer Hartnett hit the shooter, hit him one time, and shot him right in the ass. From while both were running, and this guy already had a head start on him, so he had to be 25, 30 yards from Jesse. And he still hits him,
which doesn't sound far, but
30 yards is
for those who don't go to the range. That's with a handgun.
As they're running,
as
he's bleeding to death
with one hand.
So that I thought that was the scariest night of my life, and it's up there. It's number 2. So now Jesse's in the hospital. Jesse had multiple surgeries that night, and just with any time one of our brother or sister officers are hurt, you know, as a courtesy to the family, to the hospital, to the injured officer, we place an officer, you know, bedside with him in case he needs anything for security. We don't know, is this guy part of a bigger plan to assassinate this officer? You know, not all the facts came out yet.
Now, where was the guy at this point? The shooter.
He was also in the hospital.
Okay.
He was in a different hospital that Jesse was taken to. So 2 nights later, I was scheduled to, they all asked me, I was the senior officer, can you go sit with, that's your tour of duty. Like your 8 hours of work is sitting in a hospital with Jesse. I said, yeah, no problem. You know, I got dressed in my uniform, prepared, knowing that I'm sitting in a hospital all night. So I didn't wear my bulletproof vest. I didn't wear all the doodads that we keep on our belt. And, you know, I was just in my shirt, tie, pants, and my gun. And went and stopped, got my coffee, had my briefcase, and I'm getting my things out of my personal car. This guy comes up to me and says, officer, you know, can you spare some change? I haven't eaten in a while. And I'm trying to get the hospital to help me, and they threw me out. I said, well, you know, I'm not one to just give up money. I said, well, when's the last time you ate? What did you have? And he gave me some specific details that led me to believe this guy's straight up just hungry. So I had $5 on me. Gave him $5. I said, make sure, you know, you spend it on food. And he walked away. And I got the rest of my things out of my car, and I walked into the front entrance of Presbyterian Hospital in West Philly. There's 2 sets of doors. You have to go through one set that anybody can get through. You have to go through a metal detector, and then there's a second set that security has to buzz open for anybody to get through. So I walk through the first set of doors, and I see the same guy that just asked me for money with his back against the wall. So I acknowledged him, like just our eyes met, acknowledged him, and I kept on walking, and there was no security to let me through the second door. So here I am, hands full, coffee in my right hand, briefcase, jacket, hat in my left hand, and I'm looking around outside in the hospital for the security to let me in the door. And I turned my back to this guy, and he walked up behind me and grabbed my gun and attempted to take it out of the holster. And just my body froze. I went into defense mode. I locked down on my gun with my elbow, and I kind of like ripped it out of his hand And I turned, and like it took a nanosecond for me to like look at him, look at the situation, like see what was going on, like what is happening here.
Right, what the fuck?
And so I dropped my coffee on the ground, and I dropped him, and he fell back, threw him on the ground, cuffed him, and then just sat in the nurse's station for the next 20 minutes and cried with the nurse.
Fuck, what was he, just mentally ill, I guess?
Just, he was out on parole.
And he never explained any of this?
Well, his explanation to the detectives was he was tired of being broke. And he was going to he saw an opportunity to get a gun. He was going to take my gun and, I guess, provide for himself through robbery or whatever.
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
Whatever. And, yeah, man, like my life flashed before my eyes.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Knowing that my friend just 2 nights before was nearly assassinated.
Right.
And I'm here for him.
Right.
And, yeah, it was...
That's wild, man.
Definitely.
But I saw the video, man, and the craziest part about it for me, man, is there's a security guard there.
He was on the other side of the door, and when he seen what happened, he just nonchalant.
That's what I mean.
Like he was going to pick up the mail.
Like, this is the dude that was hired to keep people safe in the building. Like, and you know what I mean? He was just like watching you guys. It's like, dude, you could at least yell. I get it, you're scared, but you could at least be like, hey, stop it, or something. Throw something at him, something. The one tattoo is your daughter.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so tell us a little about her.
So, I had Madison when I was 24 years old, still a kid, and she was my girlfriend at the time. We ended up getting married some years later. Came home, told me she was pregnant, and I just scared, happy, sad, excited, everything at once. And I come from a big family. I have 5 siblings. Well, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. My grandmother just turned 95 on January 5th.
Wow.
And she has 112 grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Holy shit.
So I have a big family. So I was excited, man. And boy, you're always scared. Are you going to raise them right?
Yeah, man.
And you're going to be a good parent? And, she just turned 18 in November. And applying, she's a senior in high school. She just got 2 scholarship offers from major schools in Philly. One for nursing, one for physician's assistant. And I couldn't be more proud of her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There was one picture of her. She was about 2 years old, maybe 3 years old. And when she was a baby, her mom always used to do her hair in these little pigtails.
Yeah.
And she had these bright blue, she still does, but had these bright blue eyes. And she just caught a candid moment of her looking over the chair to, she was supposed to be turning around, eating.
Right.
But she was sitting the wrong way on the chair. She was watching her mom do something, and I watching me do something. Her mom took this picture, and it's just been my favorite picture of her my entire life. And it captures just her dimples, her eyes, her pigtails, her natural curiosity of what's going on, and nothing's changed. From 2 to 18 years old, she just has a natural curiosity about the world. That's awesome. She's just the most caring person that I know. So, I wanted to honor that innocence by getting that tattoo.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes with pictures like that picture's, it's very blurry, not too much detail, but every now and then you get, there's just so much attached to the picture that's all right, you gotta make this happen. So, definitely feel you. And then the lighthouse, I remember the lighthouse was a cover-up.
Oh my God.
Which is really hard to tell. But yeah, we did sepia tones to kind of mask it all, and real grain and a lot of texture. But why did you get it?
So there was it was one of my first tattoos that was covered up. It was a cartoon character, Bam Bam.
Yeah.
And just been through a lot in my life, and you know, a lighthouse. A lighthouse says so many things.
Sure. Yep.
You know, guidance. You know, trying to show your way.
Yeah.
And you know, I know these people come up with these elaborate explanations of what their tattoos mean, and just the lighthouse, the compass, and the anchor. Just, it's not one thing in my life.
Right.
It's the totality
Yeah.
of my 45 years on Earth. You know, the anchor just to keep me grounded and not overthink things.
Yeah.
You know, and I just wanted that canvas of such a great leg deserves so much more than just Bam Bam.
Right. There's nothing wrong with Bam Bam. Bam Bam says a lot.
Yeah. And then on the back of my leg, I received it was actually off of a greeting card.
Yeah.
And it was from somebody who you know really meant a lot to me. It was during a rough time in my life. It always seems like tattoos revolve around, you know, life experiences, whether they're bad times, whether they're great times. But it seems to be an extreme.
Sure.
You're never going through an okay time in life and be like, I need a tattoo.
I need a tattoo to commemorate this average time in my life.
Yeah. So I was going through some things at work, relationship-wise and stuff, and this friend of mine just gave me a card of encouragement and everything, and said that it reminded, you know. So the tattoo was two innocent kids, saluting the flag. They probably don't know why they're saluting it.
Right.
It just shows like a innocent patriotism.
Yeah.
And just I wanted to capture that.
Yeah.
And all three tattoos just capture so many aspects of my life.
I like the one with the kids on it. It's like at that age, you don't even know what the fuck America is.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
You have no reference. This is like, hey, I grew up here. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But if you ever get a chance to visit other countries, there's great shit out there. But at the same time, you're like, whoo, get to go back to my country.
No idea how lucky you have.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. All right, well, thank you for coming. It was a pleasure having you, and everybody, check him out on Instagram. And I would say he's single, but there's something going on in his life that's good right now. So ladies, stay away.
Definitely not single.
So check out Team Foster. That's something he's associated with. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So there's an organization, a veterans organization called We Are Team Foster. It's a nonprofit organization that supplies service dogs to veterans. Oh, cool. Is the simplest way I could put it.
Cool.
Susquehanna service dogs, they purchase litters of dogs and then send them for they train them. And once they're all trained, they're donated to a veteran suffering, whether it's a physical handicap or PTSD. The main part about it is, you know, the VA and doctors, what are their main thing when something's wrong? Right. They press medicine. Sure. They push medicine on you. They push pills. And when, you know, a service dog may be all you need. Yeah. Well, insurances won't pay for it. Right. Insurances won't pay for the training of a dog and everything. Each dog can cost upwards around $25,000. And that's with purchasing the dog, housing the dog, feeding the dog, training the dog, and the continuing training that the dog has to go through to be loyal to his owner. It's dear to my heart. My brother suffers from PTSD. So, you know, it really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So the Instagram page is We Are Team Foster. You can find them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Donate if you can.
We gotta finish your leg.
Yeah.
That's some
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely.
Stop pussyfooting. Just come get.
I was waiting for you to get that numbing cream.
Yeah, no. Dude, it's like a patch of my
It is,
body.
man. It is.
And we gotta get the sepia tones in the flag.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll get a doctor here to give you some lidocaine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we'll numb you up, give you a little sleepy gas, some Ativan. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks for coming, brother. Thank you for your service and your time out there.
Thank you for the donuts.
Yeah, for sure, man.